This is Meraj. Meraj makes a living as a travel writer. He loves motorcycling, golf, playing the guitar, and just bumming around. He's decided to travel for a year to find himself. About time.
This is Johan. Johan is a photographer. Johan is Swedish, but he's lived and worked in 4 continents. He's done some pretty interesting gigs along the way. Johan's current obsession is shooting astral time lapses. He plans to backpack in India for a year of travel and adventure.
In Dehradun, the capital city of Uttarakhand, Meraj and I had a sunny day out with Team Evolution, a bunch of youngsters united in their passion for stunt riding and rap music. Meraj takes a walk down memory lane and, as always, finds an excuse to stuff himself silly.
Very good.
In a quiet corner of Rajpur, we waltz into the workshop of the Dehradun Guitar Company and convince the luthiers to let us have a go on the bespoke custom guitar maker's handcrafted instruments. Mussoorie. I haven't been here before, but it already reminds me of Shimla, except that it's smaller and less chaotic. It's got the same hill town feel, narrow lanes, lots of tourists, some relics of a colonial past, and lots of street food. Meraj isn't interested in what he considers the touristy parts of town and has already made his way to Landour, but I'm going to spend at least one morning in town. I've heard a lot about this small cafe that serves up awesome omelettes. Nothing like eggs to start the day.
When I've been asking my friends about Mussoorie, a lot of different people have told me about lovely omelette. Now, it makes me think how awesome can an omelette really be? Well, if I keep hearing the same name over and over again and different people give me the same recommendation, I'm just gonna have to try it out and see what the rave is all about. Hello, sir.
Hello, good morning, sir. Good
What
morning.
is your name?
My name is Khurseed.
So you are the owner of Lovely Omelette, is
Yes,
it?
sir, I am. Sir.
Now, I have heard that you have the best omelette in the country.
Sir, best in India.
Best in India, is it? What different omelettes do you have?
Sir, see, oil omelette, butter omelette, cheese omelette, half fry, chocolate omelette, vegetable omelette.
Okay, I'll try a cheese omelette.
Yeah, please, I can do it, please.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Khurshid Ahmed set up the Lovely Omelette Center almost 4 decades back and has since gained a reputation for dishing out the finest omelettes in Mussoorie. The walls of this cafe carry proof of its popularity. There are newspaper clippings, guidebook pages, magazine pages, and images from different television shows that Lovely Omelette has featured in. There are even old pictures from the time the shop was set up. I kept waiting to see a secret ingredient, but there wasn't one. The secret, Khurshid says, is in the beating of the eggs in order to make them fluffy. I also noticed how he was putting cheese in very early on in the process to melt it completely by the time the omelette is done.
So please, sir.
Wow, thank you, sir. Thank you. There it is. Look at this. The cheese is just melted, stuck to the bread. Wow, wow, wow. Chilies inside. That is one phenomenal omelette. Wow.
I don't know about the calories, but this omelette totally lives up to the hype.
Now, Khurshid also gives these omelettes to kids who can't afford them for free. So he is quite a charitable man as well.
Walk past the church and you reach Landour's Char Dukan. This little hub that presumably had 4 shops once upon a time now has half a dozen rustling up breakfast for residents and visitors who drive up to Lal Tibba, Landour's only stop on the tourist trail and the enclave's solitary eyesore. From here on a clear day, a panorama of the peaks comes into view. Thankfully, there's plenty of haze today, which means I've been spared the weekend horrors. Solitude is easy to seek in Landour. You'll find it on the 3-kilometer circular road just past Lal Tibba. Allendale, huh?
What is that? Poetry pouch. Hi there, thanks for stopping by. This is a poetry collective performance. There are a few poems to read, pen and paper if you wish to write. Oh, okay. Let's see what people have written. Beautiful place, beautiful face. Love is around, peace knows no bound. I found myself in nature's solace. Nowhere else I'd rather be other than this place. That's sweet. Love, Anki. I hope it remains the same when I come around beautiful mountains and trees to have us surround. Oh, all right. Once again, I'll lose myself and be sound. All right. I suppose I should also write something. Pen and paper. Okay. All right.
Landour reminds me of a dream I once had, standing in tall grass a long time back. Somewhere on the edge of the great ice, spear in hand, gazelles on my mind. And then I wake, and like all childish things, I put the spear aside.
Landour, huh? It's only 300 meters above and a few kilometers away from Mussoorie, but it might as well be on the moon. It's a world apart from its more popular neighbor. And that's because Landour is a cantonment town. All the trees in a cantonment town belong to the army, which basically means there's no felling. And which is why you see such a diverse old forest in Landour.
Prakash and Company's store in Sisters Bazaar is an institution. Established in 1928, it's the go-to shop for provisions in Landour and quite famous for its locally produced peanut butter, preserves and marmalades.
Hello, how are you, sir?
How are you?
Can I get some of your, I think I'll take some of the marmalade, plum, orange, strawberry, gooseberry. I'll take the gooseberry preserve. And also some of that peanut butter, please.
All right. Have you tried orange marmalade? It's
No, I haven't.
One of the very popular,
Really, is it?
amongst the jams, one of the most popular things.
But this is the stuff this is like all locally produced fruit.
Oh, absolutely.
All of it,
absolutely,
no?
yeah,
My dad would love orange marmalade and the peanut
and
butter
peanut
too.
butter.
Oh, I see. When did you start doing cheese?
Oh, cheese is one of the oldest products that we've been doing.
Oh, I've
for the
never.
longest period of
I've
time.
always associated you with.
No, cheese we've been making since 1960, before that even.
Wow. Do you think I could try some?
Yeah, sure. Why don't you come join me at home? We'll have a platter of cheese there.
Ah, that'll be.
Is that all right?
That's very generous of you. Absolutely.
Yeah, come. So,
Chaliye.
shall we go? then?
Chaliye. If it's
All right, so you want to pick up your jams right
Yeah,
now?
can you tell your guys to pack it up for me?
All right.
I'll take it on the way up.
Okay, let's go.
A cheese
Come.
platter, huh?
Yeah, cheese
Wow.
platter. There's all different cheeses there.
Anil Prakash, who runs the place, is an old-time Landour resident. Anil has had to shift his cheese-making unit to Dehradun to cater to increased demand for his cheeses that are then shipped across the country. It's a rite of passage for Anil, whose grandfather, he tells me, was the first person to make cheese in North India almost a century back. Like his ancestor, Anil still prefers storing and aging the cheeses in a cellar in Landour's cool climes.
Okay, so all of these have been made by you, huh?
Yeah,
So
I've started now making about 4 or 5 different kinds of cheeses. We used to make cheddar earlier.
Okay.
Now I'm doing Gouda, Edam, cheddar,
Gouda, Edam, and so you have like a predisposition towards Dutch cheeses then?
Well, a couple of Dutch cheeses because they are more palatable to Indian palate.
Oh, are they really? Oh,
Yeah,
you
they're
mean because,
kind of little, milder and
as opposed to the
as
blue cheese?
compared to
Or,
blue or the Emmental and all that, which is
really,
quite
Emmental
an
is not
acquired-
popular in India?
No, that's actually quite an acquired taste. Whereas Indians go more for softer and
Right.
milder cheese.
So this is which? This is...
Now this is Edam that you are having.
Mm.
So it's kind of real mild, you know. It's a low-fat cheese. Whereas you try this one. Now this is Gouda.
Gouda.
It's similar to Edam, but kind of little
More pungent
little
also.
more pungent, aged. Whereas this one, if you try this one, this is cheddar.
This is cheddar. Yeah,
And
this
this is
was...
about 3 months old cheddar. We age it up to a year.
You do?
Yeah, and
And it's better for it.
well, it gets more pungent and sharp, so that's what a lot of people like.
Where did you pick it up? How to make cheese, etc.?
Well, I was in Switzerland also. I spent a season there in Switzerland, and I was making cheese there.
How long back was that?
That was about 20, I think about 15, 16 years back. But before that, I was making cheese here also.
Oh.
But I learned to make Swiss cheeses there.
I really like this cheddar.
Cheddar is nice.
This is 3-month-old, you said?
This is about
So it's
3
kind of young right now.
Yeah, very young, very young. My grandfather came here in 1920, but my mother was already here in
Right.
Missouri. My grandfather fell in love with her and he married her here.
Oh, good.
She was from Sisters of Valentine.
Oh, she was?
Yeah.
Smart move that. Excellent. So you can't possibly imagine living anywhere else, I suppose.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all.
I'm hooked to this stuff. This is really addictive. Eh? So I'm going to take one of every. I can't take a wheel, unfortunately, but I'll definitely take a slice of all three.
Take some chunks, small chunks.
And also
small
perhaps some smoked Gouda. I don't think I can get some in Delhi. But thank you for seeing me. Oh, it's oh dear. I read a very interesting story a couple of weeks back about the caretakers of the cemetery. It's a Hindu family, and the lady's husband has passed away, and so she was talking about how she has literally, spent the last 2 or 3 decades of her life here, and her children were born and brought up here, and how she would tell them that it's a garden and not a cemetery, so they wouldn't get scared. And she signed off with one of the finest lines I've ever heard. She said, "भरी जवानी कब्रिस्तान में बिता दी तो अब तो बुढ़ापा आ गया है और बुढ़ापा तो जवानी से भी लंबा होता है," which roughly translates into, I spent my entire youth in a cemetery. Now I'm in my old age, and they say old age is even longer than youth. Something very poignant about that. Anyway, I'd hope to meet her, but I really don't want to go and disturb people. In any case, it's padlocked. So I'm going to give that a miss. After the First War of Independence in 1857, the British in India grew increasingly wary of their safety and sort of retreated to these little garrison towns which were easily defensible, Landour being amongst them. And it was primarily the British and the Europeans who lived there before independence. Of course, all that changed after 1947. But the graves are still here, so many of them are still buried here. And the houses still retain some of their original Irish, Scottish, Welsh names. We crossed a Shamrock, a Allendale, a Parsonage. A number of famous personalities are believed to have houses here, Mr. Ruskin Bond being among them. I really like Mr. Bond and I've read a lot of his work, and I even toyed with the idea of sort of reaching out to him. But then I read a report about how he's being harangued by tourists who go and knock on his door every day, and he's just about had enough of them, and I don't blame him. So from what I know of him through his writing, he's a gentle soul, and I decided I'll just let him be. I really want to get Landour sandals made. They're very popular. In fact, they're even exported. And these guys have been around for over a century. Namaskar, bhai sahab. ये वो Landour sandal यहीं बनती है? आ गए?
नाम क्या आपका? Bhagat sir. My name is Johan. Namaskar ji.
भगत जी कितनी पुरानी दुकान है आपकी?
ये 100 साल पुरानी है सर।
100 साल, 100 years old.
Wow.
Look at these.
100 years of experience.
Oh, there's Lucky Ali there. That's a very famous singer.
दादाजी
That is his grandfather up there. ये कौन है? ये भी कोई
ये लकी है।
हाँ वो नीचे अरशद वारसी. Like celebrities who come here. आप हमारी फोटो भी लगा दीजिएगा. योहान की लगा दीजिएगा. योहान बहुत बड़े सेलिब्रिटी हैं. बहुत जाने माने आदमी हैं. तो
What are you making here? It's leather shoes you're making here?
तो ये लैंडोर सैंडल जो है ये होती क्या है? पहले तो मुझे दिखाई, मैंने कभी देखी नहीं है, मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता ये लैंडोर सैंडल।
सर ये लैंडोर सैंडल ये है, इसे मसूरी चप्पल बोलते हैं। ये एक ही पट्टी की होती है ये।
अच्छा
हाँ, तो इसे आपको टाइट कर लो, ढीला कर लो, ये ऐसे पट्टी है ये। हाँ,
तो किस किस रंग में बन जाएगी
ये कोई सा भी कलर बना लीजिए, सारे कलर होंगे हमारे पास।
दिखाइए किस में ले हम?
ये कलर दिखाइए अनिल, तू भी दिखा कलर।
So you get to choose the leather. Okay. And but it's almost like a Roman sandal except that it doesn't go up.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's looking nice. So then he stitches this whole thing together to the
तो
middle
इसमें
sole.
इसकी खासियत क्या है?
इसकी खासियत ये है सर कि क्या है, ये एक ही चारों तरफ जैसे मर्जी, अगर पैर में टाइट है, ढीला है, जैसे मर्जी अपने हाथ से फिट कर सकते हैं हम इसको।
अच्छा
ये देखिए, ये चप्पल, हाँ ये चप्पल फिट नहीं होगी, ये चप्पल फिट हो जाएगी। ये इस तरीके की चप्पल है ये।
Oh, it's still adjustable.
हाँ,
Nice.
तो ये
Wow.
ये जैसे मर्जी कलर है।
Do they have any green leather for you?
Yeah, they do. Right here. Right here.
स्वेड है,
Right here.
ये स्वेड है।
मैं तो इसमें जाऊंगा।
ठीक है।
कितना वक्त लगेगा आपको बनाने में?
2-3 दिन लगते हैं, अगर ज़्यादा लंबा हो तो फिर कोरियर कर देते हैं।
कुरियर कर देंगे आप
हाँ,
दिल्ली?
courier कर
चलिए ठीक है, वही सही।
All right, that
And
sounds
you?
good. You can make it in this? This works?
This? Yeah, okay, sure. इनके लिए
You're like,
इसमें
are you sure?
और इसमें हमारे लिए इसमें। तो फिर अब क्या करना है फिर? नाप आप
ये
लेना?
नाप देना सर।
Now you give your measurements.
Okay.
आप खड़े रहिए।
Get up, stand up. Stand up and put your foot there. Thank you भाई साहब। धन्यवाद आप लोगों का।
Thank you, G.
Bharat lives in Dehradun and has been guiding visitors in these parts for over 2 decades now. We've decided to take a bit of a trek starting from Everest top. A viewpoint on a hill on the late Sir George Everest's estate. It's bitterly cold this December morning and the wind chill on the peak makes it downright frigid. But the sunrise is magical and the pictures make the entire exercise worth the effort. This entire area is part of Sir George Everest's estate, and his house lies just below Everest top. The man who Mount Everest is named after was the Surveyor General of India in 1830, and was awarded a medal from the Royal Astronomical Society in 1847. He spent 35 years of his life surveying India, from the southernmost tip all the way north to Nepal, a distance of 2,400 kilometers. His house, even though it's still standing, is in poor shape, with graffiti tags and ardent declarations of love scribbled on its walls.
That was a really scenic sunrise up at the estate.
Yeah.
But what are we gonna do now?
So, would you like to go for a walk?
Definitely. Where to?
And this place is called Binog Wildlife Sanctuary.
Bharat suggests we take a trek through the Benog Wildlife Sanctuary toward Kempty Falls. The falls I want to avoid, as I've heard the weekends can get pretty crowded. Apparently, this region was a popular picnic spot with the British in pre-independent India.
Okay, so the trees, most of the trees you can see here, these are the oak trees basically.
Oh, these are all oak trees?
Yeah, these are the oak trees, full of oak trees, and you might come to see some rhododendron tree a little bit further up maybe.
You know, it's funny that there's no pine trees around.
Yeah, the pine trees on the other side of the ridge actually, on the little higher ground. They are planted actually,
Okay.
the pine, but these oak are natural. They naturally grown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, these pine trees can really take over an entire forest sometimes.
Yeah.
Nothing but pine trees. You know.
Yeah, and most of the part of the Uttarakhand or some part of the Himachal, you can see the whole region is covered with the pine forest. You know.
Right.
And this bridle path we're walking on was in fact built by Sir George Everest, who used mules to carry heavy survey equipment to the top of Benog Mountain to map the Himalayas for the Great Arc of India survey. First though, we've got to climb a pretty steep hill called Javala Devi after a local goddess. The hill has a great vantage point to get a view of the region. Benog Wildlife Sanctuary is part of the Rajaji National Park and is home to a number of animals, including leopards and bears. Bharat assures me that the likelihood of running into large animals is minuscule and urges me to keep an eye out for the birds. Birdwatchers love this part of Mussoorie, and there have been sightings of many rare birds. The one we're looking for, though, is the Himalayan quail that hasn't been sighted in 139 years, but birders haven't given up hope yet. We didn't really see much wildlife. The weather hasn't been great, and the skies have looked ominous all day. I did see this one kite though, high up, hovering in mid-air, being buffeted by the wind. I don't think we have the ability to feel freedom the way birds can, and I wonder what they think about their world being circumscribed by us, humans who can't even fend for themselves in the wild, let alone fly. Imagine being expected to confine yourself to a sanctuary when you can take off and fly wherever you please. Again, I find myself questioning our arrogance at claiming this world for ourselves, with no thought to all our animal friends who also inhabit the earth.
2018, what a year it's been. Johan and I embarked on our year of travel in March, and after 8 months on the road, our travel diary is straining at the seams. Spectacular locales, quirky individuals, and an entire rainbow of experiences in between. Catch a montage of some truly unforgettable moments next week on WION Traveller.